All right, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's been a while since I've done a live Q&A. It feels like it's been a month. Maybe has been a month. Welcome. I'm Tom Vasel, head of the Dice Tower, and the Dice Tower is chugging along. There's so many things going on at any given moment that I have a great team, and they help keep me keep track of what's going on. I have so many games I'm reviewing this week. I've already been at work at that. Talking about these games. I played lots of games over the weekend. I also had worked on some future Dice Tower stuff over the weekend, and more future Dice Tower stuff today and this week. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. This is a Q&A, so if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the chat, and I will try to get to them as much as I possibly can if I want to. So yeah, I'm kind of excited. It's 2 weeks before we leave for Essen. Not as excited about that. I don't mean that in a negative way necessarily towards going to Essen, just that there's a lot of stuff to get done beforehand, and Essen itself is so busy when we're at the Spiel Fair there. But I am, looking forward to so many games. I haven't even looked at the Essen list yet, really, because I'm just dealing with the games here in-house. I've been cleaning up them, going through them, trying to play some that haven't got played in a while, so on and so forth. All right, let's see what we got here. Did you see the Renegade showed off the HeroScape G.I. Joe product line in great detail last week? I saw the pictures of all of it, and I didn't go into much more detail than that. I went and looked at all the pictures because I was curious who they had. But the Crimson Twins share a health pool. That's fantastic. I'm putting them in my army. I don't care how bad they are. They're my favorite bad guys from the G.I. Joe universe. So looking forward to that. All right. What is the best and worst snack to eat while playing a game? Well, the best snack, I think, is pretzels. The worst snack is eating some greasy chicken that you're dipping in queso that's filled with Cheetos. Have we received Nemesis Retaliation? No, we have not. They did not send that to us. When will the future Dice Tower invent time travel to come back and let us know what games haven't even been conceived of yet are worthwhile playing? This, I'm actually going to be making a video on this soon, I think, about this, where people talk about, it seems like always there's consistently people who go, there's just not any good games these days. I don't know what to tell them. There are so many good games. Yeah, there's a lot of games that aren't good, but anyhow, yeah, I barely think about the future. I think about right now on our shelves how many games. This week is the Board Game Bash. I'm going to get to play some of them there. I tested out a new game, Ruse, which is definitely an homage to Gloomhaven. I got the rules down, so I'm going to play that at the Bash this week, and I have a bunch of Euro games I want to get played at the Bash too. So I'm looking forward to that in the future. Have you read Arcanum Unbounded by Sanderson? I thought the stories taking place in conjunction with the main series were really fun. I have not done that. Which one versus all do you like better? Like Sniper Elite, where the team hunts the one, or like Terrascape, where the one hunts the team? That's a good question. Unfortunately, there's not a lot where it's the one hunting the team. So normally it's in fact, I'm trying to think of one besides Terrascape. I do like the idea of hunting people down in a game. I think that concept has always been fun, trying to guess where somebody's gone. I think it's a difficult genre to tackle because there's just some classics out there, from Scotland Yard to Fury of Dracula. Those are like classics in that genre, so it's hard to make one that kind of doesn't feel like it's copying one of them. Thanks for the comprehensive ranking videos, says Void Verter of Marvel United. This feels like hey, when are you going to rank all the Marvel stuff? Huh. I started doing it last year, or earlier this year, then we moved, and I kind of put that off because, frankly, there's other videos that require more attention. It's on my list. Heard of the 40th anniversary edition of Yakuza, also known as Shogun, also known as Samurai Swords, coming out, and why are you happy about that? I am satisfied about that. I think that's a better answer for that. I liked that game a lot. So there's the grand trilogy of games that came out in the 80s from Milton Bradley. There was Fortress America, Axis and Allies, and Samurai Swords, also called Shogun, which was later remade as Yakuza, but I'll just call it Samurai Swords for now. Those are the big three. There was also Broadsides and Boarding Parties, but that one really was not the big three. The other ones were the big three. When I was a kid, when I was, I think, 12, a friend of my father's gave me Fortress America, and I fell in love with it. I played it so many times, set it up, had so much fun. The hover jets, the hover tanks, the jets, the whole thing was just fascinating to me, especially in the 80s. Everyone's attacking America. I thought it was really cool. My neighborhood friend had Axis and Allies, and we played that and found out he played that wrong. So then I fixed the rules on that and found out I was a bit of a rules lawyer. I've since pulled back from that to some degree. But we played those a lot. But Samurai Swords was that one, never to be seen, right? My mom wasn't paying $50 for a board game. Are you kidding me? So when I was in college, I saw that Toys R Us, and I saved up enough money and bought it and played it at college. And I liked it a lot. I was like, wow, this is a lot more like Risk like I thought, because it's essentially like Risk. You're running troops around fighting, but most of what you're fighting is with these three big armies moving around. There's a lot of luck in it. It has your range stuff goes before your ground troops. I like that concept. I think it's the weakest of the three, though. That's why I'm not as excited about it. I think it's cool. I think one of the reasons it's the weakest of the three because it's not team oriented as opposed to, Fortress America is one versus all. The Axis and Allies is Axis versus Allies, obviously, and so Samurai Showdown is just everyone for themselves. Samurai Swords did have some cool swords. Has a lot of cool things to it. Had the ninja you could hire. There's a lot of really cool concepts in it. So I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't like it as much as the other two. But I'm still glad that it's coming back in print. Will the Dice Tower have a show or something similar in Essen? And will we need tickets? Yes. Our show is at 1:30. There's a new stage. It's in a new hall. I'm going to put up a thing about it once I have a little bit more details. I don't believe you need tickets for it. I think you just show up. I love the review of the X-Men Dice Throne. Have you all been playing the missions as well? I have, and I think someone else in the studio has. That review should come in a few weeks. Maybe I'm growing up, Tom, but my priorities have changed from getting new games to making the games I really like easier to get to the table with the organizers. Final Fantasy games come to mind. Any thoughts? Well, I don't think that has anything to do with growing up or older. That's just a preference. Last night, we forced my son to watch something different. He's 11, and he watches the same stuff all the time. And we were like, you're going to watch something different. He's like, there's nothing good. And we were like, that's nonsensical. So we went through Netflix, a series. I said, all right, here's a series. Watch this series. And he was like, oh, fine. But then he got into it once it was going. But, kids will do the same thing over and over and over and over again. And I get that with board games. I have no problem with people who want to play the same game all the time. I personally want to try out new games. I think that's fun, finding the new experience in games, although I have no problem going back and playing an older game. I like that too, but the people who want to play it over and over again, that's fantastic. I just don't think it has anything to do with growing up, age, etc. And organizing games, why wouldn't you want them organized? Would you ever do a video of what publishers should or should not do at conventions? I don't know. I'm not a publisher, so I think I'd be cautious to give tips and strategies because I see the publishers do things and I wonder if it works or doesn't work. I can see things that do work. Allplay has those little tables where they demo little games in the middle of their booth, and that works really, really well. I've seen the booths where you walk through and buy stuff and come out the other end. That seems to work really well. Just having an air of excitement, I think, works really well. But I don't know that I would make a do's and don'ts necessarily. Got the new Magical Athlete and played it with the kids yesterday. Who is my favorite character from the new Magical Athlete, which we will be reviewing this week, so keep an eye out for that. Well, on just a funny level, Huge Baby. I mean, that just cracks me up, the Huge Baby. My favorite one is probably the guy who slides along. You used to see Race for the Galaxy as having complicated iconography. If it came out today, would you still think the iconography is complicated? Maybe. I still think it would help if not only was there iconography in the cards, they just listed at the bottom the stuff it does. That's my favorite cards that have iconography, and then you go to the bottom, and they also tell you what it does in text, so you can use either one. I can teach Race for the Galaxy. We did a list one time about top 10 games we won't play with noobs. Kind of tongue-in-cheek, right? Because I'll play a game with anybody most of the time. But Race for the Galaxy is a hard game to teach, and I think it was on that list. I think I have it down now. I've taught Race for the Galaxy a lot this year in particular. It's one of my go-to games because most people haven't played it. And so I've taught it several times. So, I don't know. You're right, though. There's a lot of iconography. I wish games, again, I wish they just had sheets with all the icons on them and told you what they do. Fortress America, says each hobby, is, in my opinion, the best Ameritrash game ever launched and hope for a 40th anniversary edition of the game as well. One can hope. I'll even settle for a 41st, you said 41st anniversary edition. Yeah, it's good. I mean, nowadays it's probably a little too long. But man, I love playing it back in the day. Any IP you think is due for a board game? Yeah, G.I. Joe. Hi, Tom. I bought Cyclades Legendary Edition, helped by your review of the original Cyclades version. Your thoughts on the new version and compared to the original one? Did we not review the new one? Maybe we didn't? The new one's amazing. The new one's phenomenal. Did I not review it? Well, that's on me. Well, either way, you'll know soon enough. I'll give you a spoiler. It's going to show up in my top 100. So there's that. And I don't believe Cyclades has been in my top 100 before. Where will it show up? Well, that you'll have to find out. But I think the new Cyclades is absolutely amazing. And it's one of the few times where I really think you should get the deluxe version. Also, my daughter painted all the monsters in it, so I'm very excited about using it. And all the heroes. Thanks for answering my Essen questions. I'll be coming across from Ireland. Any Irish snacks you'd like? I don't know a lot about Irish snacks, so I would not know. Snacks are great. I tell you what. Do come by the booth. I want to talk about Irish food because I'm curious, like in America, are Irish pubs, like what of that is actually Irish food? Like shepherd's pie, is that really an Irish thing? Because if it is, then I'm moving to Ireland because shepherd's pie is amazing. And me and my wife have been having this back and forth about, I want her to make shepherd's pie, and she says it's a lot of work. And I'm like, who cares? But that obviously is a thing. I love shepherd's pie. All right, Scooch. Yeah, that's the character for Magical Athlete that moves across one at a time. Good luck, Tom. My daughter is the type to watch the same new movie dozens of times once she likes one. Frozen was a big one. She just saw Coraline at my example suggestion, which holds up through 10 watches. I've always been confused on that because maybe I'm just a different parent than other parents, but I control the TV. You don't get to watch anything 10 times. I only noticed because I was trying to play a board game in the dining room, which is right next to our living room, and he was watching YouTube Minecraft videos where the guy just kept yelling the whole time. I was like, I'm tired of yelling. So he switched to Pokemon, and they never stop yelling at Pokemon. I was like, you need to watch a show where there's a lot less yelling. He's like, no one's yelling. I'm like, they're definitely yelling all the time. So, yeah, I never have let my kids watch the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. My son will watch the same shows over again sometimes. So I want him to diversify. Any favorite kids movies? Well, I mean, I like a lot. I mean, anything Pixar is fantastic. Um, and yeah, Matt says he watches the Miyazaki ones. I think those are fantastic too. Yeah, definitely read the reviews on a Miyazaki movie before you show it to him. But I mean, that Toto is a great. My friend Toto is fantastic to show young children. Other than that, I mean, you have the Disney catalog. You might as well subscribe to Disney Plus. There's a humongous backlog of videos that you could watch there. And then I like all the Iron Giant and all that stuff. There's so many cartoon ones. Oh, that's right. Mike reviewed it, says Mike Heller. I remember that now. That's why I didn't review it, because Mike had already reviewed it. So we'll see. Have you played any of the new Kemet content? No, I opened up. You don't need, by the way, to write the word question. I know they're questions because they have question marks at the end. I have not played it. I just opened it up and went through it. Do I favorite survivor or killer from Terrascape? I don't care one whit about the survivors. They're all very same to me. But my favorite killer is still probably the murderer. Tom, what is your favorite and least favorite type of videos you make? Are these Q&A videos the most annoying thing to do? No, I like... Sometimes people go, Tom seemed annoyed in the Q&A. No, it's because when I answer questions, I try to answer them honestly to the point, and so I guess it comes across as me. Sometimes I lecture on an answer. I got to be careful on that. But I love doing the Q&As. My favorite to do are top 10s. They're my favorite videos to do are top 10s. And then Q&As are probably my second favorite. But I do like doing top 10s. We're going to do a fun video this week called Hot Takes, where many of you have sent me in different hot takes, and we're going to respond to them and see what we think. What happened to the Wonderlands War dual playthrough? The publisher pushed that back. I believe it is still happening. It is just not happening. Well, it was supposed to happen last week, so it's happening at some point in the future. Do you still enjoy Flashpoint Fire Rescue? Did you get a hold of the Legacy version? I'm going to be reviewing the Legacy version of that very soon. I've played it, so I'll talk about my thoughts then. And yes, we have both cottage pie with minced meat and shepherd's pie with minced lamb. They sound fantastic. I do like that. I could eat those every day. I really enjoyed the art for Magical Athlete, says Broken Beard. Reminds me of the 70s kids cartoons. Yeah, definitely like I'm Just a Bill. Is there another Gen Kids art style game that you'd like to see reprinted and redone? Probably. I don't know. I don't think Magical Athlete's a kids game, though. So I'm not sure what you mean by there. I'm going to review Magical Athlete this week, folks, so I'll talk about it there. How do I stop my toddler from throwing things like their food and cups off the dinner table? Well, that's a much more involved question. I would defer to my wife. She's not here. We'll ask her later. Another question about Magical Athlete. All right, it's coming, my review of it. And Botswana, I have not got the reprint of that yet, but I believe I got a shipping notice for it, so hopefully it's in the mail. Is it too late to send in a hot take video? They're not videos. They're just sentences. Just send in a hot take and we will respond to it. Just send it to tom@dicetower.com. I'd love to see a top 10 favorite mechanisms. Haven't we done that? If we haven't done that, it's probably on the list to do in the future. What is the art in the background for the Dice Tower Castle made of? Is it on canvas or metal? It's metal. This stuff is fantastic. Good morning. Does Dice Tower have a standard minimum time you try to play a game before you do a review? No. Did you watch all of the top 100 from Team A? No, I had a lot to do while they were doing it, so I kept it on in the background where the sound was muted, and I watched to see what the games were, and occasionally I would come up to watch it. And then afterwards I might come in and say stuff like, hey, the game has to be published for us to put in the top 100. No, but it was good. They did a great job, and I am glad that to see how diversified the games are. I am amused. We have gotten several comments where people are like, "How dare they put such light games in their top 10?" That's so elitist. Like, do you hear yourself say that when it comes out of your mouth? You can put any game you want in the top 10. I just don't get that. The complicated doesn't mean better. If someone's favorite game is, let's say, cribbage or checkers, who am I to say that's bad? Anyway, does Florida have a Renaissance fair? There's several. There used to be one in Fort Lauderdale that I never went to because every time I considered going to it, I want to take my family there. It was like $40 or $35 a person, and I was like, I don't want to go that bad. What do I have nothing personal rated on Board Game Geek? I don't know. Did I rate it? I mean, I probably did. I'm going to guess before I look at it that I've rated it an 8. Yep, that's what I rated it. I'm hesitant to call my own game excellent. What's the highest rated game not in the Dice Tower library? Well, that's a good question. So before we look at this, let's take out the legacy games and campaign games, because those games don't really belong in a library. So here we go. Brass Birmingham, yes. Pandemic Legacy, I already said doesn't count. Arc Nova, yes. Gloomhaven doesn't count. Dune Imperium, Twilight Imperium, Terraforming Mars, War of the Ring, Dune Imperium Uprising. Oh, wow, that's number 9 already. Huh. Star Wars Rebellion, Spirit Island, Gaia Project, Twilight Struggle. Okay, I'm not going to read these all out loud because that would be boring to you. Continuing down, looks like, again, the only ones I'm taking out are the ones that are campaign games. So far, these are all in the library. Yes, Crokinol's in the library. Yes, PAX Premiere is in the library. Yes, Blood Rage is in the library. I mean, honestly, it'd be kind of weird, I think, if we didn't have most of these in the library. Well, it's starting to look like I'm down to 86. Kingdom Death Monster is a campaign game. That's why that's not in the library. So again, taking campaign and legacy out, I have everything. Taking those out, everything from the top 100 is in the library. But I think the interesting question is, what is the highest rating game that's not in the library? Well, Final Girl, but that's a solo game. Again, we're trying to take a look. I want to find the highest rated game that could conceivably be in the library, but is not. Well, this is interesting to me. This is going to take a while to get through because I'm going through. I'm down to 120. Dominion, Wormspan, Twa, Age of Steam, Mombasa, Trajan. And there's always a possibility that I've missed something here. That's a campaign game. That's in the library. That's in the library. Yes, I feel really good about my library right now. That's in the library. Cartographers is in the library. Huh. What will be the first game? I'm down to 180. That's in the library. Istanbul's in the library. Is Endeavor Age of Sail in the library? Yeah, I think it is. Okay, so we've made it down to 200. Again, not counting solo games, legacy, etc. Welcome to Bombbusters. Dune is in the library. This War of Mine is in the library. I just saw it. I actually considered pulling it out because I don't want people crying at my conventions. John Company's in the library. There it is. Sekigahara, the Unification of Japan. I don't believe that's in the library. That's a war game, though. So what's the first normal game that's not a war game that would be in the library? Um, Wowzers. I'm feeling pretty good about my library. And again, I'm also skipping expansions here because Secret Hitler, number 255, is not my library. So there you go. Huh, that's interesting. Well, cool. Where in the world do you wish you could go visit that you've never been to before? Well, it's always a place I haven't been to before. In May of next year, I'll be going to a convention in the Philippines, so I'm excited about that. I was invited to Argentina, but was it Argentina or Chile? I think it was Argentina, but I wasn't able to make that one. I really want to go to India at some point, and I'd love to go to any of the countries in Africa. I think that'd be a neat place to be. So there's a lot of places in the world. Whose taste do you closely match with the Dice Tower in games? I don't know. I have strong overlays with people on different games. So if it's like Ameritrash, I cross over very highly with Joey. When it comes to the mid-weight Euro games, I have a lot of crossover with Chris. When it comes to two-player abstract special, I have a lot of crossover with Z. So, I mean, I'm kind of crossover with people on various things. Would you ever do a comparison between good games with bad ways the game ends, like the engine doesn't get going, versus good games with great endings to games? I mean, maybe. There are some games that kind of fizzle out. It's not nearly as exciting, or you find that you're 100 points behind. It is fun to have a game that ends with an exciting ending, although I'm starting to wonder sometimes that games kind of manipulate those exciting endings too, so you got to be careful with that. When will we see any more Marvel United footage? Well, we just reviewed last week the new Spin Master set, and when Simon delivers all the DC stuff, obviously I'll go over all that. But no, I don't paint minis. When do you feel it will be time to do the top 10 videos such as 10 games every gamer should have? Best 2 Panther games. Well, the best 2 Panther games, you're probably going to wait a while on that one because I don't even know if I could do a top 1 of my favorite 2 Panther games. Top 10 games every gamer should have. I redo that with a different title every 3 years, and we just did it at the end of last year, I think. Some years ago, I watched a top 10 with Trey Parker, and it really rekindled my love for games. How did that cooperation come about, and do you have plans to or options to have more guests that way? I was traveling to LA many years ago, and I tweeted out, at the time I was using Twitter, and said, I'm coming to LA if anyone wants to get together. And Trey Parker sent me a thing and said, hey, this is Trey Parker. And I sent my phone number, and he's like, hey, this is Trey Parker. And I was like, who is this really? But no, we met up and played games at his studio there. And it wasn't like any great friendship bonded there, but it was nice to talk to him. And I see him occasionally when he swings by Dice Tower West. And every once in a while, I hear from him, but not tremendously. I'm sure he's very, very busy. And so I asked him, hey, would you come by and do a top 10 with us at the studio? And he said he would. So he did. And that's the end of the story. Just asking in case there's something I might want to bring on the cruise. We just booked it a week ago. Yay! Well, great. Glad you're coming on a Dice Tower cruise. That's going to be fantastic. But, I mean, for you, I would just bring, if there's a game in the library, there's 2 games you should bring on a cruise. A game in the library that you think people are going to play the entire time and you'll never see, and you want to play it. Or a game that's not in the library that you desperately want to play. Or, on the very last night of the live, you want to play a game and we're shut down on the very last night. But that's the only games you should bring. We have the rest of the library then. If I remember correctly, you removed the doors from the recording studios. Well, there was no door there. We have sound curtains in each of them, but we have found that the gaming area is not too far from there. First of all, when we're recording, there's not a lot of people gaming at that point. It just doesn't normally happen. But also, the soundproofing in these rooms is fantastic. You do not hear much going on out there at all. Good morning, says Frank. Good morning. With the advancement of apps, do you think high component thematic games like Legacy games or Eldritch Horror or King's Dilemma would be better served in apps? Or do you like having the components? I think it's a case by case, but yeah, I wouldn't mind having all that stuff in the app. Would you ever do an escape room with a Dice Tower team and film it all for us? Well, I've wanted to for a while, but it's tricky because escape rooms do not want you filming in them. So the only way it would work is if an escape room was going to shut down that escape room, and then we could film it, you know, wait till the escape room shuts down and then show everybody what we did. Who is the Tom Vasel of 18XX and why isn't it Tom Vasel? Well, 18X games are very long and I don't want to play them, but there is one I got at Origins which I do want to try out, or Gen Con, sorry, I got it, Gen Con. Who is the person who reviews all of them? I wouldn't know. I'm not part of that community, but I'm sure there's someone out there who does excellent reviews of them. What is the worst rated game in the library? Alrighty. Well, let's see. To do that, we're going to have to go to the lowest rated games. So I know that I think the lowest rated game is Tic-Tac-Toe. If it's not Tic-Tac-Toe, it's definitely... Yes, that's the lowest rated game. So now I'm going to go up from Tic-Tac-Toe. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The lowest rated game in Dice Tower Library is Monopoly. Ranked 29,192 on Board Game Geek. It also includes the expansions for Monopoly in it, so which I found to be incredibly amusing. After Monopoly, it would probably take me a while to find one that's in the library. As I'm going up through here. Why is Simon ranked so low? Maybe because it's not really a game. I don't think Simon's that bad. I'm looking through the bottom 100 here, and I'm not really seeing a game that might be in a Dice Tower library. Pie Face? No, we didn't put Pie Face in the library. This could take a really long time to find a low-rated game that's in the Dice Tower library, but we might want... Toss-Across isn't bad. Why would Toss-Across be so low? What do people have against Toss-Across? Bop It. 5-second rule. 5-second rule might... Why is 5-second rule so low? That might be in the library. I don't think it is, because 5-second rule is not that bad. Moving along here. Still looking for games that might be... I'm looking for games that I have to like... I have to have rated them, and I have to probably rate it higher than... Oh, there's a 3 Wishes. No, I don't think that one's in. That's like a very tiny micro game from Strawberry Games, which was a spin-off of NSKN, which is now Board and Dice. So now I'm in the bottom 1,000, still looking for a game, and I'm seeing a lot of terrible games here, but not many. I'm just kind of looking through to see any that I would have rated at least a 7 to see if that would have made the library. Wow, there's a lot of these games I've rated 1s, 2s, and 3s. Oh, there's a 7. You've Been Sentenced. That's a party game. That one is a weird box size, a pentagon, so that one would not have made the library. Bedpans and Broomsticks. I believe it. Oh, Change Horses. Change Horses isn't bad. I think people just don't get the flow of that game where you're trying to lose. That's the highest rated one I have that's low, though. Oh, here's none. The Princess and the Pea. Well, that's a kid's game. And on Board Game Geek, people tend to rate kids' games low because why wouldn't they? Let's see. Yeah, lots of these games I'm sitting here nodding my head as I see how low they are. Wake Up Cthulhu. Is that like Wake Up Daddy, but you're trying not to have Cthulhu send you to the great beyond? There's another 7. Barbecue Party. Oh, again, that's a kid's game, so I understand why it would be. It is amusing as I look through the bottom thousands of games and realize how many of them I have played. Toss your cookies. People need to be nicer to kids' games on Board Game Geek. Eye and Seek, Shootout. Neither one of those is in the library. It's going to take a while to find one that's not Monopoly. Imagine If is not in the library, but why is Imagine If ranked so low? That's not too bad. Well, I'm up to the 26,000s. Yeah, wow, these are some terrible games. What's that game? Finish Line. Oh, I shouldn't say one of the worst racing games I've ever played. It is the worst racing game I've ever played, Finish Line. I can't believe Finish Line was approved to be published as a game. We're still at a 26,000s. Wait, there's a 7. Lynx. No, that's not in the game. That's a nice little game, though. Stringamajig. Is Stringamajig in the library? It might be. It's a little party game where you use a string. But I also might have pulled it because I know it doesn't get played that much. Mess Machine. I like that game. I'm starting to hit a few more 7s now as we get higher. We're finally in the 25,000s. This is the scintillating content that you are here to see as I scroll through all the different games that I played and just desperately look for a game that's a 7. That game's called The Worst Game Ever. I gave it a 6 because it's not the worst game ever, but they tried to, it was kind of a selling point shtick. There's another 7. Dosa. Oh, that's those Magna Drop discs. Again, why do people hate on stuff like that? I still don't know why people just like toss across. It mixes beanbags with tic-tac-toe. It's fun. Rawr. Well, that's still not in the library. But again, remember, there's only 2,000 games in the library, or 2,200. And so I have some kids' games in the library, but they're probably not going to be ranked this low. Probably Patrick Zock could run a little program and find the lowest one. Monkey Memory is a good kids' game. Well, whatever. I can tell you that in the bottom 2,000, 3,000 games, the only one that's in the library is Monopoly. And that's partially as a joke, but also partially because those expansions are silly fun. Okay, well, I'm running out of steam here. I'm in the 24,000s now, and I'm not finding anything. So probably running a script would be easier. That'd be an interesting top 10, the lowest 10 ranked games in the Dice Tower library. Somebody send me that information, and I'll make a little short video explaining why they're in the library. That'd be fun. Okay, let's get back to the Q&A. Much more interesting questions. We don't have any board game conventions here in Pittsburgh. Visit Pittsburgh. I've never been to Pittsburgh. Considering I lived in Pennsylvania for so long, that's kind of a weird thing that I never was in Pittsburgh. But I always tell people Pennsylvania is really 2 states, East Pennsylvania and West Pennsylvania, and there the two shall meet. We went to West Pennsylvania a couple times. There's a fairy tale amusement park out there whose name is slipping my mind that we went to that was close to Pittsburgh. And I know, and Jordan says there's no conventions there, but the World Board Gaming Championship is close to Pittsburgh. You play with lots of designers and developers. Ever had someone change a rule to a game and make it much better mid-playthrough? No, but I did play Rising Sun with Eric Lang, and I remember disliking everything about the game. Mentioned this to him, and halfway through the game, he was like, done, and just packed it all up and said, I'm going to fix it. And when I played the final version, it was very different from what I had played there. Have you considered designing another game? It's always like floating around in the back of my head, but it has not progressed at all. It's always a weird thing. I always thought if I did design a game, should I do it underneath an assumed name? But the publisher's not going to want that. They're going to want to say, hey, it's a game designed by Tom Vasel. I don't know. Going to Brazil in December. Any insight on getting on some Brazilian exclusives. I don't actually know what the Brazilian exclusives are, but I would just ask the gamers there. Is there an updated list of games currently in the Dice Tower rack somewhere online? Yeah, if you follow our cruise, one of our conventions, there's links to the library in those convention areas. I'm not 100% sure. Do you do waiting lists on games in the library, or is it a first come, first served when a checked out game gets returned to the library? I am very much opposed to waiting lists because therein lies madness. I understand the point of it. You want to play a game, but our conventions are not yet huge enough that you cannot play. If you ever want to play any game in the Dice Tower library, it come down at 6 o'clock. You'll play it. It will be there. There's like at Dice Tower West at 6 o'clock in the morning. There's one person there, me. At Dice Tower East at 6 o'clock in the morning, there is 5 people there. At Dice Tower Cruise, there is 3 people there. You will get in like any game you want if you just get up early enough. But other than that, the idea of, hey, it came back in the library, now we set it aside and wait for these people, then everyone comes by and says, I want to play that game. You're like, well, it's reserved for so-and-so, who doesn't come back for hours to get it. It's just a mess. It does not make things better, unfortunately. And you could say, well, give them 30 minutes, but then we'd have people hurling games back in the boxes, running down as fast as they can to get the game. I just don't see any good of it. My opinion is there are tons of games everywhere. And at the places where trickiness like that can happen, where a lot of people want to play the same game, like Dice Tower East and West, there are hot games rooms where those games are set up to play. Oh, personally fun to Dice Tower to go through the True Dungeon one here. Well, let me know on that because you have to sign up for it real early. Greetings from Brazil. Hello. How do you see the uprising of video games turning to board games? We have a lot right now, and it seems like Kickstarter launches one per week. I am not sold on this. I don't think video games need to become board games. I don't think it ever works out amazing. The best one is Slay the Spire, but that was a card game. That's a board game. You just can't capture that video game feeling in a board game. Right now I usually play one video game at a time. So right now I'm playing Borderlands 4. Because sometimes you just want to shoot everything in sight. And Borderlands 4 definitely allows me to do that. And it's super fun. It is a fun shoot-'em-up game. I have never once while playing it said I wish this was a board game. They're just two different hobbies. The same as when I listen to music, I don't go, I wish this music was a board game. That can happen sometimes, where you're at a store and you're like, this would make a great board game. But for the most part, I'm happy keeping them separate. How often do you still chat with Roy? I think the last time I talked to Roy was during Gen Con. I sent him a picture of the booth at the Last Light that was being sold there. And I talked to him a couple weeks before that about his store. But that was the last time I talked to him. Can we have Dice Tower award stickers for the games that won this year for next year's Kickstarter? Can you elaborate on that? If you're a publisher, you can just make the stickers and put them on the games yourself. If you are a person wanting the games, yeah, I don't know. Explain to me what you mean by that. Is it true that Dice Tower employees are legally called vassals? No, it is not true. Anything you want to get played for Halloween as something special? No, I'm not a big Halloween celebrator anyway. I like spookiness, but I think you can do that sort of gaming all year round, so it doesn't really matter to me. In what year did the Dice Tower experience the most growth in terms of viewership? 2012. Top 3 to 5 things you would change? What? What's this 3 to 5? I don't know. Board Game Geek, well, I wish pictures of games were more stringently moderated. I know it's like a joke, like, ha ha ha, there's a cat in a box, or isn't that hilarious? Not really. or I would like to click a button that says I never want to see a picture of the cat in a box, or I don't want to see a picture of people holding the game and it's hard to see. Like there's so few and pictures of storage and custom components and things like that. I just want to see pictures of the game in play, and there's so few of those. So I don't know how to fix that though. There's a lot of people who say it needs an overhaul and all that, but I don't know what that looks like. So I like BGG. I use it all the time. Board Game Geek is the website we're talking about if you don't know what that means. I gotta be careful about saying things I would change because I don't know how hard it would be to change all of them. BGG should have a separate for kids rating on games, so they're separate from the core games. Yeah, that would actually be cool. Have you ever dressed up for Halloween? I've done a little bit of it. I have a bunch of those amazing masks from Trick or Treat Studios, but I don't do much other than that. Usually I just wear a suit and then one of those masks. Hey, Tom, is it always up to you who gets to put on a certain review, or is there a group discussion ahead of time? How do you determine whether games are solo review, a duo, and 3 to 4? Okay. We have a meeting each week about the following week's reviews and stuff. Everyone talks about it. People have a chance to join reviews. I usually push for the vast majority of reviews. If they're going to be big, I don't need them normally bigger than 3 because 4 is almost too many opinions. It also depends on how many people have opinions on the game. If everyone hates a game, well, we don't need 3 or 4 people telling you that everyone hates it, unless it's a really big game and it matters. So I like to get a variety of opinions on the review if possible. So there's a lot of different factors that go into it. Top 3 curmudgeons in the board game industry. Oh, the 3 people who were like, those games are too simple to put in a top 10 list. I don't understand this question. Have you deluxified your personal at all? I'd have a Nespresso machine of mine, or maybe a massage chair. Oh, in my office, I have a cool stuff to look at. I got a cool clock that changes pictures every day, every hour. I don't have a massage chair, an espresso machine, because those things don't interest me. I just want my office to be functional. Yes. Thank you, Jordan. Idlewild. Yes, I went to that park as a kid, and I've never forgotten it. The Winsome convention is in Pittsburgh every year. Yeah, but we're talking about fun conventions. I jest, but Winsome is a company that makes Age of Steam expansions mostly and other very, very unattractive train games. That's their shtick, right? They make most of their games come in a tube. They were the original publishers of Age of Steam, and I believe are still the publisher. I don't know. It's in conjunction now with Eagle Griffin, but Winsome makes train games. So I don't know that I would go to it. You say 40 of us attend. There are dozens of us. Let's see here. Make that 2 people at 6 a.m. at West. I'm surprised that is the biggest Dice Tower convention, and there's definitely the fewest people down there at 6 o'clock. Have you considered doing more remote videos? Oh, you mean like us traveling and doing something? Yeah, maybe. Sometimes we do those, but the problem with doing those is we like to enjoy our lives outside of the office, right? So, yes, I could. Like, I went to Orlando with my family for a day this week. I could have recorded the whole time I was there, but I just wanted to enjoy it with my family. And when you blog, you have to think about that the whole time. You ever play the board game of the video game Apex Legends? I don't think so. Hey, Tom, it seems like unpaid previews on YouTube will never say anything negative in previews. Is there an implied relationship with these things where you shouldn't say anything negative? I can't speak for, different content creators out there. I know we are on our previews are paid. They're from Mark Street. So, yes, they're there to promote the game. We make it very clear what they are. If you're asked to do a preview from a company, maybe that's implied in it. If you do a preview for a company and it's terrible, I don't know that they'll work with you again or whatever. This is why I don't really deal with that. I like doing reviews. And yes, we have a growing list of publishers who will not send us games because we have given their games negative reviews. Yeah. Are you excited for Firefighters on Duty now that fulfillment's underway? I've already played Firefighters on Duty, and that review will come out at some point. I wish BG had a button where you could cut the price of games in half in the marketplace. Do you mean your games or other people's games? I don't understand what you're asking here. Hey, Tom, I saw you gave T-Witches a 5. I'd love to hear your quick thoughts on that game. Well, I'm going to review it at some point, but T-Witches, which is like the threequel to Flamecraft and whatever the sequel to Flamecraft was called. It has that cute artwork. The artwork's great and everything. It's just too much for too little. There's too much effort that goes into that game with too little in payment back. I'll do a full review of it at some point. I noticed in older reviews, integrated themes got a lot of attention. In recent reviews, the appeal in a certain mechanism rather than theme. Why might this be? Maybe you're noticing it more? I don't know what you mean by that. I've always liked games that have a great integrated theme, and I've always liked games that have no theme. I wish it made sense when new editions are separated or combined with previous editions on BGG. I agree on that, and I wish there was a way to find the original publisher. Amen to that. That's a good change. Original publisher would be fantastic. I also wish there was a way. Yeah, that would be. Oh, I would love that so much. Because sometimes I'll see a publisher and I'm like, ooh, I wonder what games they publish. And so I'll go to their website. This is for foreign publishers, and they'll be like, we publish Gloomhaven, and we have Ticket to Ride. And I'm like, oh, you're doing those from other companies. But what games have you done that are unique and interesting? It's hard to figure it out. So some way to print games. The covers have the awards they won print on the box. I'm curious if it would make possible for your games to make stickers of the awards. For example, SETI won 3 Dice Star Awards at Gen Con. Well, sure. Here's the thing. If we don't make stickers for this, then I'll make the files and you can make the stickers yourself, if you really want to do that. If the company asks us, I'll gladly let them do it. If you want to do it, go for it. Hey, Tom, in your humble opinion, how's the current state of the industry? Things still growing at a good pace? Yeah, I think the industry is pretty good. We actually did a video on this a few weeks ago at the World Series of Board Gaming. Tariffs have definitely affected the industry. Companies are working around that, trying to figure it out. It hasn't really slowed down Kickstarter and GameFound. Still lots of things out there. Publishers are still going to conventions. Some companies are going out of business, but other companies are stepping up to take their spot. So I don't know that it's growing necessarily, but I don't see it shrinking either. What is your most anticipated unreleased game? I don't know off the top of my head. Probably, I'll say, okay, I know what it is. It's A King's Dilemma. Tied with a game I can't talk about that I'm very excited about. I alluded to this before in a Q&A, but there is a game that is being reprinted that I thought would never be reprinted, and that's with Vasel's Law and all that stuff, and it's being reprinted. It's being changed and everything, but I'm very excited about that. Oh, you went to Orlando this weekend. Any theme parks? Nope, nope. We just went. We swam. We had a good time. We went to Disney Springs. We went. My family. We saw the Cirque du Soleil act there, Drawn to Life, which was amazing. So good. Such a good show. I love the Cirque shows. And my family had never. Well, actually, I think my family had. Yeah, none of them had ever been to a Cirque show before because I usually see them when I go to Vegas. And yeah, so they all liked that show a lot. I was glad. Your video about Escape from Aliens from Outer Space is 9 years old. Is it still a game you recommend and enjoy? Yes. Not as much as Joey. Joey loves that game. He brings it to all the conventions and plays it. Critter Kitchen. Yeah, Critter Kitchen is the second game. Will there be a Death May Die ranking like the Marvel United ones? Well, I don't play it, so you won't get one from me. Any advice on how to best streamline cull my personal library? I just passed my shelf space and think it's time to shrink, but I have a hard time letting go of some games. Yeah, so you look at your games, and is there games you dislike? Well, get rid of them. You're like, well, I don't have any games I dislike. Is there games that you think are fine? Get rid of them. If there are games you think are good, get rid of them. Just keep the best games. Look at a game and you say, realistically, am I going to play this in the next 2 years? And if not, get rid of it. Why not? If you had to start the Dice Tower all over again, knowing what you know now, what one or two things would you do from the get-go differently? People ask this all the time. They ask us, like, in your life, what would you do differently? I'd be afraid of the butterfly effect, right? You can go back and do things differently, but I'm glad I did things. There's things we've tried that didn't work. Someone was just talking about this the other day with the Dice Tower podcast. I made CDs where we burned the first episodes onto a CD that you could then go buy, and we sold like 11. But it was worth trying, right? And the things we try sometimes don't work, and I've made big mistakes, but those mistakes lead to good things. So I don't know. Let's see here. Are you familiar with Cam Sandwich's channel's ongoing exploration of just what the campaign for North Africa game is and was? Yeah, I know what the game is and was. I definitely have looked through it before. I have not followed it. I know he's doing it, or I think I've read about that somewhere, but I have not really been following around with it. Are the 4-person reviews in Dice Tower going to be happening less and less often? Well, you're just going to see more and more 3-person reviews, because 3 just works a little better than 4. That's all. It's not that huge of a change. When will the Dice Tower release the next Top 100 series for Tom, Mike, and Z? In January, like we do every year. Is there still a Tom Think segment being made somewhere? Well, yeah, but now I do them as just their whole videos. I did one a few weeks ago, well, maybe like a month ago now, where I talked about, you know, what to do, how to prepare your board games for when you pass away. So, I asked you this in a previous Q&A about the most anticipated games at Spiel Essen. We're going to do that next week. The week before Essen, I'll go through games that I'm very interested in. Do I still accept silly hats at conventions? Possibly. Just remember, everyone, if you're ever going to buy me a hat, and I love that, it's the nicest gift you can get from me, my head is gigantic, so get extra large hat. What's your go-to race for the Galaxy setup? I play with the first 2 expansions, but usually not the goals in the second expansion, and not anything war from expansion 3. I take all that out. Do you think Gen Con will hit 100,000 attendance or nah? I think it will sell out before then, because it's pretty full at the 77,000 they run now. Now, there's going to be another hotel that's being built there, a gigantic hotel, so maybe that will change things, but I can't see that hotel bringing in 23,000 more people. I have not played DC United Hush yet. That's why I had them review it without me. I will get around to going through it, but I might drag my feet and wait till the rest of the DC United stuff comes. How am I liking the Borg RPG rule set? I really like it because they do exactly what I love, and that's random tables. So it's a lot of fun. Alrighty, folks. Well, that's it for the Q&A today. Keep an eye out for stuff coming out this week. Tomorrow, me and Mike are going to be reviewing Regicide Legacy. We have some bunch of games. Last week I did 2 6-game review things. I'm doing 2 more of them this week. And we're taking a look at a bunch of different games, including Magical Athlete. So, yeah, keep in mind, we're going through a lot of these games. We have tons of games that we have to cover. So we're covering as many of them as we possibly can. We have more coming out next week, more coverage coming your way. So thank you all for watching. I'm glad that you are here. Join us as we do more live stuff over the next few days. We got crowd surfing and all that stuff coming your way. But until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.